During the darkest nights of World War II, when blackout conditions were enforced and fuel was a scarce commodity, soldiers on both sides faced a serious problem: how to create light without giving away their position or wasting precious resources. What emerged from that necessity was one of the most ingenious pieces of wartime innovation: the field light that burned without fuel. It wasn't magic. It was chemistry, survival instinct, and battlefield engineering rolled into one brilliant solution. And remarkably, versions of this forgotten light are still quietly used by off-grid survivalists today. By 1942, kerosene and oil were heavily rationed, especially in forward areas where every drop was reserved for trucks, tanks and generators. Soldiers couldn't spare fuel for basic illumination in trenches, command tents or field hospitals. They needed a safe, discreet light source, something invisible to enemy aircraft and reliable when supplies ran dry. Necessity, as always in wartime, sparked creativity. Engineers and resourceful infantrymen began experimenting with chemical luminescence, producing light through chemical reaction rather than open flame. One result was the so-called chemical field lamp, an improvised system that generated light through oxidation instead of combustion. The concept was simple but powerful: create a controlled reaction between two safe materials to release energy as a glow rather than a fire. The earliest versions relied on calcium carbide, a compound that reacts with water to produce acetylene gas, the same gas once used in miners' lamps. But soldiers discovered a slower, safer way to use it. Instead of igniting the acetylene, they allowed it to diffuse through a porous filter, creating a steady chemical glow that could last for hours. The setup was rugged and clever. A metal canister, often a recycled food tin or shell casing, contained a small reservoir of water above a compartment filled with calcium carbide granules. When a few drops of water trickled down, the reaction produced acetylene gas, which passed through gauze, mica, or porous clay. The gas excited phosphorescent minerals mixed into the filter, typically zinc sulfide blended with traces of copper, causing it to emit a soft greenish-white light. No flame, no smoke, no visible signature from the air. Field reports described these lamps glowing faintly like captured fireflies, bright enough to read a map or treat a wound, but dim enough to stay undetected. They were silent, reusable, and safe to use in oxygen-restricted bunkers. A single handful of carbide and a capful of water could produce light for an entire night. When the reaction ended, the leftover chalky residue, calcium hydroxide, was harmless and could even be used to neutralize acidic mud or clean metal parts. Soldiers built them out of whatever was at hand. Tin ration cans, shell fragments, and spare mess kit parts became the bodies of these devices. A dripping canteen, a strip of cloth, or a punctured cork served as the water feed regulator. The brilliance wasn't in expensive materials, but in the control of reaction. Too much water and it flared, too little and it dimmed. Mastering that balance was the mark of a seasoned field engineer. Accounts from both the Pacific and Eastern fronts mention inventive variants. Some soldiers mixed crushed firefly shells or luminescent minerals into the reaction chamber, extending the glow or altering its colour. It was early, low-signature tactical lighting, decades before night vision or LED gear existed. These makeshift lamps could illuminate maps, medical kits, or cooking areas without betraying positions to enemy spotters. For the modern survivalist, the principle is still incredibly useful. When electricity or fuel isn't available, reaction-based lighting provides a renewable, portable option. Calcium carbide remains commercially available today, mainly for caving lamps and metal-cutting torches. 1 kilogram can supply dozens of hours of usable light when combined with water. Modern chemiluminescent materials, like those found in glow sticks, descend directly from this World War II technology. The difference is packaging. Where soldiers improvised with chemistry and scrap metal, today we crack a plastic tube and shake. The science hasn't changed, only the convenience. Building a modern replica isn't difficult, though it should always be done outdoors or in a well-ventilated space. All it takes is a small metal container, a controlled drip source, and a pinch of carbide. Let the water fall slowly, observe the gentle hiss as the gas forms, and watch the chamber begin to glow. It's an eerie, beautiful light, warm yet cold, born of chemistry instead of flame. For anyone interested in off-grid resilience, it's a living lesson in how much can be done with so little. The soldiers who created these fuelless lamps probably never imagined they were shaping future technology. They were simply trying to see their maps without attracting bullets. Yet, in solving that small immediate problem, they pioneered sustainable lighting long before the term existed. Their improvisation influenced everything from miners' safety lamps to modern chem-lights used by rescue teams and the military today. What makes this story remarkable isn't just the gadget itself, it's what it represents, ingenuity born from desperation. In war, innovation doesn't come from laboratories or corporate funding. It comes from a soldier in the mud, staring at darkness, deciding there has to be a better way. Every flicker of light, made from trash and chemistry, was an act of defiance against chaos. The fuelless field light stands as a quiet monument to that ingenuity, a reminder that even in the most brutal conditions, human creativity refuses to go dark. And for those of us fascinated by forgotten technology, it's proof that the best survival tools aren't always the newest. Sometimes they're the ones that burned without burning at all.